Shalom Aleichem. In the last year, there were a lot of different videos circulating showing how Jewish soldiers taken captives, how they taken off their shirts, how they're mistreating them. Lately, there was a very nice video of someone who was learning Gemara in front of the captives, and he's going through the different sugya in front of them. Some people felt that maybe it shouldn't be done, as it might be Chilul Hashem, and it might be agitating the goyim, maybe they get more angry at us. Well, we need to know that the Gemara already addressed when it's permitted to haunt, to tease the wicked, and when not. Let's see a Gemara. It's a Gemara in a couple of places. We'll learn the Gemara in Brachot, Daf Zayin Amud Bet. The Gemara asks a question the following way. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai says, Mutar להתגרות ברשעים בעולם הזה. One is permitted to tease, to haunt the wicked in this world. Why? Because it says, עוזבי תורה יעללו רשע, ושומרי תורה יתגרו בם. Those that keep the Torah, tease them, they haunt them. That is fine. The Gemara asks about this. How is it possible? But it says, אל תתחר במרעים, אל תקנא בעושי עוולה. Do not tease those wicked people, the bad people. אל תתחר במרעים. The Gemara says that you should know, מי שליבו נוקפו, אומר כן. This is a person that's afraid, that asks such a question, that thinks that one is not allowed to tease them. The meaning of the pasuk is something else. Don't be jealous of the wicked. Don't copy their ways. Don't imitate what they're doing. That's what it means. And the Gemara says that 3 different scenarios that one is permitted to tease those wicked people. One way is if a person does so l'shem shamayim, which means he doesn't do it for his own pleasure, for his own honor, for his own good feeling, but he does it l'shem shamayim. He does it because that's the right thing to do. That's one way. Second way is that there's a difference between a person that is a tzaddik gamur and not a tzaddik gamur, which means a person that's a tzaddik is allowed to tease those wicked people. And then you have the third answer that piles all those answers and says there's a difference between a case that rasha shasha misacheket lo, which means the hour plays out for him. He has a good, now it's his moment, which means things are going well for him. At that moment, you don't want to play with him because it's his time. He's successful at that time. When he's successful at that time, you try to stay away. But when en hasha misacheket lo, then it's permitted to tease him, even though it's not l'shem shamayim, even though that ideas that we said before of trying to do it when it's a tzaddik gamur or not a tzaddik gamur doesn't play a role at the time that the hour is not on his side. And therefore, when we find, for instance, that Mordechai saw that Haman hour was not playing for him, it wasn't his time, wasn't his moment, things were not going well for him, as he was commanded by Achashverosh the king to take Mordechai on a horse around the city. He stepped on him forcefully and hardly so. Haman asked him, well, what are you doing? This is how you treat your enemy. Don't you know that you have to treat your enemy with respect? He said, no, that is not the time that you treat your enemy with respect. And we need to know that if we deal with an enemy that just wants to fight, and if you surrender, for example, they'll leave you alone, then it would be a different story. But unfortunately, we're not dealing with such an enemy. We're dealing with an enemy that is only interested of killing us, torturing us, and doing as much evil that it's possibly available for him, it's possible for him. And therefore, our own way of protecting ourselves is the only way, which means we have to protect ourselves in any possible means that we can. And it's not going to help whether we tease them more, we haunt them more, we haunt them less. They're interested to do the same thing and they are motivated to do the same thing. They're going to try to do it as much as possible, whether we tease them or we don't tease them, whether we learn the Gemara in front of their captors or not. It really doesn't mean anything. And therefore, having that mindset is a mindset of a galut. In the galut, indeed, you're trying to stay as much as possible b'darkei shalom, trying to stay away from their evil ways, trying not to tease them. That was in the galut. But whenever you are in Eretz Israel, or you're in a safe country where you're protected, then this is not going to change anything. It's not going to mean anything, because they are going to try to do anything they can anyway, whether you do or you don't. You see what happens when people went on a flag on Yom Yerushalayim, whenever they were backing up and not going marching with the flags. On the contrary, that's when the terrorists started sending rockets, and so same thing happened in so many different instances. So therefore, the Gemara teaches us that the final idea is whether the time plays for them or not. When the time is not on their side, this notion that we're going to try to keep Darkei Shalom and appease them at that time it's not necessary, and also it doesn't help.